Hello, my name is Andrew. Welcome to my stream where I engineer some software and let's say last a few weeks I'm solving one of my problems. It's about managing daily routine, such as approving content for my channel, etc. So mostly I'm making some Golang code. Let me increase it and I'll show what I'm solving. Preview. So my morning routine, it's quite straightforward. I need to execute SSH to my server, run a script, then I should provide a few inputs, approving text, then I should watch generated videos, and then manually upload them to a YouTube channel. The problem is quite straightforward. I must be in terminal session. That's not okay. I don't like it. I tried to solve it different ways, but it always takes too much time. What if I can optimize it? 6 years ago, I used to have a project. It was related to pipelines. Let me show you the thing. Firefox. Yeah, here it is. So 6 years ago, I was doing similar stuff, but the problem was I didn't have such a situation. It was capable to resize image, do some operation with image, but it was in Python. It's okay. However, it took some, let's call it, architecture compromises. I think it's API. Yeah, here it is. It was using Django, Celery, and Redis. Obviously, that's too much for solution I would like to have. It's been like 6 years. It's time to go forward. Fortunately, I got some experience. And today I can do a bit different stuff. For example, one of my key requirements, it's I want one binary able to run anywhere. That means if I have Python project, it will take some dependencies to install. Maybe Redis managing some database, managing Celery. I don't like that. So what I decided to do, it's in architecture slide here. It's not getting bigger, nice. So I decided to have a few binaries which can communicate each other, and let's say that communication will not require extra efforts such as service registry or whatever centralized. What if I can utilize multicast DNS? That's good solution. It's been a while. It's working solution. All I need to do is, let's say, I'll show you. I have outdated hardware which is no longer supported by manufacturer. It's where is it? Yeah, image. Yeah. So a laptop above, it's 10 years old, I think, MacBook with 2 cores and maybe 4 gigs of memory, maybe 2 gigs of memory, but it's quite, it's no longer getting updates. That means this laptop can be, let's say, salvaged, utilized for my needs. And below there is a bit fresh MacBook. It's 2019. It has a bunch of cores, and in that black case, there is my PC I'm streaming from. It has GPU, unlike laptops. That means it can run a few things. One of features I like in at least those two laptops, they support Bonjour protocol from Apple, which is actually multicast DNS. So I don't need to do anything, just run binaries, and that's all. Also, I have purchased a small, let's say, other device. Here it is. It's a Raspberry Pi 0W, I don't remember. Yes, it's first generation. It has Wi-Fi, but what's important, it can run cron tabs. It lives in a cup connected to USB. And yes, of course, here it is. I think, yes, it's able to run Linux as well as other stuff. So it lives somewhere above those two laptops, and it's only a real purchase and purpose and usage to run cron tabs as well as wake up those laptops. Because I have Wi-Fi, those two laptops has batteries. They also can wake on LAN. That's, by the way, super feature. That means this Raspberry can communicate to any of those workers using multicast DNS, and then it can wake them to do whatever is necessary in any moment of time. That's awesome. That means I don't need to turn on my main PC to go to SSH and do stuff. It's simple. It's, I think, 20 euros with delivery and stuff. It's a good solution. And in this architecture, I also have shared storage, which is at this particular moment, it's on my laptop as well. It's mini IO. It's easy to install and even easier to configure. I think all I did is enabled password authentication and brew enable service. That's all, like 2 actions. And yes, I also described how workers can pass tasks each other if one has no abilities to resources to work with some action. For example, if I need to resize video, it's, let's say, laptop with 2 cores, it will take some time. But laptop below, it has 8 cores, I think. It can do it faster. So, and that's a small recap of what I'm doing right now. I had a stream 2 days ago. It was on Saturday, September 14. I did not upload results of the stream here because it took 3 hours instead of 1 hour. And let's say I don't like it. It can be quite boring. But what's interesting, I have committed to do a few things in processing and storage. So it was about every pipeline can save bits of its processing to storage, no matter if it's local storage or whatever, it's just an interface. And then it can resume processing, reading data from that storage. Let's check. plan. So what has I what have I done? Okay, nice. So I have completely reworked storage interface. Back in the day, it was string, whatever operations. Unfortunately, I didn't like it. It was complex, it used to have downsides. And one of the reasons why I decided to rework storage interface, it was testing. And here it comes. Let's assume, yes, I have tests here. Let's run them all again. It's a part where each pipeline block can operate with storage. So for example, I have a block yeah, here it is. And I'm checking that, oh, I also forgot to mention, I have introduced pipeline new entity to work with pipeline data. So back in the day, I had simple mapping of block ID and content. It was not just a content, it was a string which showed the file. So it was here. Where is it? Pipeline. Yeah, here. So back in the day, it's come on. Where is it? Pipeline. Yeah, save output result. Here, it was like this map string, which used to have some quite simple structure, but it was not good. First of all, every mapping, if I work with mapping, there must be mutex. So if you have some race conditions, mutex will always solve the problem. And that's the reason why I have introduced new entity storage location. So what does it mean? Let's say I have local storage, and just for tests. Yes, I have local storage which has access to the disk. And what if I want to put some byte array to this local storage? First of all, I need to detect what kind of MIME type of this byte array, because in a perfect case, like here, where is that output? Yeah, here, result. Result of a block is just byte array. I don't care if it's array of JSONs or it's a resized video. It's just byte array. So in case of let's put those bytes to the disk, definitely I should detect MIME type. After that, I'm checking if destination, it's let me show everything. Yeah, here it is. I have that interface as well as interface implementation. Destination, it's a storage location. It's also a generic thing, not generic, but quite interesting entity, which is connected to the storage, which has a link to local directory. It's a property to work with local storage exclusively, as well as bucket. It's a different entity to work with remote storage, let's say S3. They must be different properties. The reason for this, it's when I'm trying to read the file and let's say I want to delete the file. if I use the same property, by the way, I did it before, there will be a problem when I want to upload local file somewhere. So I think it's also in here, it's in mini.io, put object. Yes, here it is. There was put on, yes. So what if I need to put local file to remote storage? That means two storages involved into this operation. First of all, I say, okay, this is, how to say it, storage location. Let's call it storage location. As I declare new storage location related to local storage with some UUID. I don't care about the name of this file. It's quite important. I simply say, okay, there is some ID in that mapping, and it's associated to local storage. And then I say, when you exit this function, no matter if it's panic or whatever, remove that local temporary file. Here I say, okay, let's put content of that file to some storage. I don't care about local directory, file name. It's just an interface. That's the beauty of this thing. I work with it like an interface. I also declared it as an interface. That gave me some, let's call it, flexibility. Let's assume in one of my tests, I am working with the list of storages. I think it was if output local storage. There was output mini.io. There was a test with multiple storages. I know where it was. It was Pipeline BlockDataRegistry. Where is it? Here. It was called and storages. Okay. Pipeline test. Yeah, here it is. So in here, one of my tests declares I have pipeline which works with local storage, which works with one mock storage and another mock storage. I have mock storages. It's just for test purposes, but every storage implements methods of interface. That means I can raise a channel inside, and then in the test, I can simply wait that pipeline was processing correctly, whatever happened, and then I can check if the storage received notification, my mock storage, about file. After that, I can check that storage, did it write content which I was writing there. Here is the test. Let's run it. Obviously, I have prepared. They all pass. Yeah. So that's the beauty of interfaces. I can work with things in declarative style. Oh, here I think there was also a panic somewhere. I was checking how it handles if binary simply says goodbye. Yeah, so that's what I was doing. I was making the storage, and in here I think I have commented load output. Yeah. I have a test for this method as well. It's somewhere in here. Yes. It's a unit test. This test is checking one thing. Let's say I used to have some processing of this pipeline in any binary, whatever, but for some reason it cannot process a block. Let's say this binary doesn't have access to OpenAI. It can discover other worker which has this thing, and it can say resume processing on another worker. But when another worker starts, like here, it's checking, can I process this block? If yes, here, it should load this block. I didn't, yes, I made a test for this method because it's unit test, but I did not include it into whole pipeline of processing, because there is a reason why. Before every worker starts processing, this data, which has been historically somewhere, let's say saved by some worker a few seconds ago, it should be loaded. So like here, which means I can say this. Prepare input data for, it's not input data, prepare results of previous blocks, previous pipeline run, yeah, execution, e.g. If worker passed request to this worker, yeah, that would be correct. And this to test the thing, it's a different test. I think I have it, but I have commented it. So for today, I should have done following things. First of all, get input data from config. I have reworked that function. Get input config data. I have renamed it. It's also covered by test. I think everywhere. Yes, I made another test. It's quite crazy, but this test is checking one thing. It's checking input config property from definition of pipeline. That means, yeah, here it can check if input was there, if it's a second block, so it can understand that I need to take information from some block and it is missing. There should be an error. And in here, yes, there will be an error. There is one dependency. What if data located in another block, which was processed on another worker, for example? There is also two dependencies check. Here, I'm asking first block and second block for the data. What else? So I used to have a few things. Also, I have renamed one property to get data from somewhere. Sometimes I might need, let's call it, filter that data. For example, in this particular test, I have this. So this definition says go to results of a block named request.ts and get language from there. At the left, you can see the output of that block. And here is the language. So output of that block is a big JSON, which means I need to parse it somehow. So I included a library capable to do it. I think it was in here, go mod, where is JSON? JSON path, I think. Go JSON. Yes. So I have included the library capable to support things named JSON path. And it works. This test, for example, checks that output of second block, input data for second block was text English. Here it is. So if I run this test, it should pass, obviously, but let's update this English GB. So now it works. Let's run it again. It should fail. Yes, it fails. And here is the difference. Expected English, but got in GB. That's, by the way, that's a real example. So that was the second thing I have committed to do, and I think I have done it. Yes. Save to and storages. I also have completed that thing. It was related to this. Back in the day, I had a list of storages and I have to iterate through that list. Fortunately, today I have separate entity for the results, which can load results and save them. Obviously, it can delete, but it's different thing. For now, I have two most important things. It's save results. And here I iterate through the storages. So this registry, it gets list of storages, which it works with. And in here, it makes some copy of input just for immutability and safety of original buffer. It saves to the storage without its file path, its bucket. It simply says, okay, I need new location and that particular storage. It works with local, it works with mock, it works with remote, whatever. So even if I add new storage here, where is it? Oh, here. Let's say I have local storage and mini IO storage is here. So let's say I can add another storage, Amazon storage or Raspberry Pi storage, for example. There is a SD card which is capable to store some data, which is always online, unlike my laptop. That can be another option, by the way. So all I need to do, in case if I add new storage, is just declare it as an input for registry initialization, like here. No. Yes. So I declare it here, and then I say process. My server declaration, it's in here. It used to have new server. Yeah, here. So when binary starts, it has two storages. First of all, local storage with root of temporary file system. And it also declares second storage is mini IO storage, which is my laptop somewhere else. And that's how it's done. It's a simple call. It's one for every storage. And it saved me a lot of time because in previous iteration it was quite painful experience. So it also done, covered by unit tests for now. Respect parameter. Let's say I have a small philosophic question. It is related to the interface of a pipeline here. Let's say I have a block which has output. Output, it's array of bytes, just like here. Where is it? I have described I made a comment somewhere with description what was not okay. Not here. Oh, by the way, I might look. It was map string list of interface. Yeah, here. Found it. So there was a problem. When I gather data from any other block execution, let's say in here, so I'm resuming, I need to gather the data, and for input, it must be prepared as something. Let's say yeah, this one would be good option. Maybe even better. I had a test. Get input config data. It's here, block test. Yeah. So there is one block which makes HTTP request, and I do not know what's inside. I know only one thing. There is binary output, but there is another block which makes, let's say, another request, but it has input, says make a request to some URL, and that URL, you will find it in the results of first block in here. So the question was about what if first block produced array? What happens? Because it's HTTP request somewhere, that somewhere might change. Obviously, it will change its response. Maybe it will yield an error. But for now, there is just byte array. What should I do? And I made an assumption that first block provided me a list of bytes buffers, which means first block as any other block will always provide array. It's in here, list of bytes buffer. And one of responses, it was a URL, which will be input for the second block. And it was a question, should I mark every block as output type array, or let's say I'm sure that this block will produce only string, or even better, I know that there will be array of integers, items, I think, array of strings. Yeah, maybe it will be object with additional properties true. In JSON schema, this one might be JSON. I can have any object, valid JSON, with whatever inside. So that was a question I used to ask myself. And I made some quite odd solution. First of all, let's check input config itself. If input config does not declare that this is an array, I should assemble everything and pick only first item. So maybe it sounds complex, but here it is. First block produced one output because it's actually one request. Let's run this code, run this test. It should pass. But why I want to run it pass it, it's let's add another line. And another line will be response, which must be ignored. So let's save and run this test again. It should pass as well. It should, but I would like to see it fail. No, it passes. So it ignores any array elements because it is not an array. It should take only first output. But if that thing used to produce a list of something, it means I lost the data. And I have another test. I think it's plain property. Where is it? No, it's a bit different test. I was checking arrays. Yes, array. Good. So another thing. What if first request produced big JSON? Should I let me check it. Camera is a bit different. So what if first request, first block produced big JSON, and I want to parse some results from it. And here is the solution. I can say, okay, body for the next request, you can take it from results of first block, and please pick segments.txt. To be honest, segments.txt, it's an array itself. Where is it? Main test. Here it is. Segments. It's an array. So in JSON path, I say pick everything with text. So it should produce segment 1 content and segment 2 content. This is what it does. It sends, it gets data as array of 2 strings, just like here. But there is input config. No, it's with 2 properties. I used to check it. Yes, it's also JSON path. Where was it? Oh, here it is at last. So let's assume it's quite big. Big sequence, but let's parse it. I have a block which provides some output. I have second block which takes data from that output. It takes segments dot text, which means it takes this property and passes it as array. But what's important, I have this declaration. I need to grayscale list of images. And then I say, let's assume there is some service which provides capabilities to grayscale an image. I must send some requests, let's say curl, with can I make it bigger? Yeah, curl post minus f, let's say image equals png to some service and let's say key equals auth key. So this kind of request is exactly what this block does. It sends a request to 8080, that's correct. It makes post, and then it says, okay, for this case, body can be taken from request image photo test segment. Where is it? Here. And then it says, and my query can be taken from sentiment, but I can say from passwords or whatever. What's important, it's making don't save. It takes it like this. It says, okay, there is image, there is sentiment for this image. Let's grayscale it according to the sentiment. And the test should check, here it is. It merges two different arrays, array of images and array of queries. In this case, it was image 1, which is positive, and image 2, which is negative. So first will be grayscaled with some value, and another will be grayscaled to most tough value, let's say. That was my consideration about everything is an array. Every input must be an array. Why would I need output config? Like this. Is there a reason for me to say output of this thing is an array? To be honest, no. In some case, there will be, let's say, download file action. I can download file, it's one resource, and it's just byte array. I don't care what's inside. The only reason for output config, it might be UI. Let's say here, where is my Firefox? Let's say here. Let's open this picture and make it bigger, bigger, bigger. No, it will not make it bigger. In a new tab. Yeah. So, if you can see, in UI, I can say this block accepts only files and strings, and its output is file. That's cosmetics, because in reality it accepts everything, and only in stage of processing it can say that this file is JPEG, but I want MP4. I need video, but not a picture, because everything is byte array. I'm still considering options, but for now I don't want to over-engineer this solution. So it's a question. Why it's not? Yeah. So let's say won't do. Since it's UI related. So yes, I have described it as everything is a file is treated as an array, whatever, but that is how it's done. Everything is an array, it's input, it's just an array. And then inside I decide, should I consider merging those arrays by type array. Also, I noted one thing, there is parallel property. Due to some, let's say, interface question, where is it? It's my test pipeline. Yeah, it's here. This is an array. It says process block input data. Here it is. This is array of or whatever, like this or this. Parallel says that these two maps can be processed in parallel, which is okay, but it's in here. It should be done here. If I let's describe it. Input config. To be honest, I don't want to do it able to run in parallel for now, because it's HTTP request. It might flood some service which will then say, hello, here is your status code. Input config parallel. What does it do? First of all, it should make wait groups. And wait. Yeah, that's how it will work. And I'm happy that storage works with mutexes in here. I have a registry. Registry has mutex. Let's check if save output, because load output, load input, it's done in sequence. I don't want to flood my storage because laptops are quite old. But in here, I can say var block input vg think wait group. I forgot, should I make it a pointer or not? Let's check. I used wait group in this code already. Where was it? Oh, here it is. It must be a pointer if I need to pass it somewhere, and that's obviously what I will do. Process. So it's a question because I can do this. Block input vg add 1 by default. Then I can say go function. I'm doing block processor, it can be done here. Set input date, it should also be done before, because it's fast operation. But this should be done here. Yeah. What I would need is to make another cycle. Like here, block input wait group wait. As for this, done. But I don't like it, to be honest. If it's not in parallel, that means, yeah, let's do different. I'll roll it back because this draft is quite tough. I'll do it a bit later. Oh, okay. 18th. Consider input config type array and the parallel processing. I think it's not necessary for now. So my next thing would be to do the following. Because this pipeline, I have created this, I must add tests, a lot of tests for this function. I have created functional tests. I think, yeah, here they are. Pipeline test. I have some quite straightforward tests, but what's important? I have tests for worker. It's unit test. It was called worker registry test. Yeah. So it was about there is a worker. Let's discover it. Let's check what it can do, etc. But let me check if I made a function to a test to process it there. Worker API, no. Shutdown, remove. Yes, it's just a registry test. So what I will have to do is consider and I need to resume processing. How to describe it correctly? I need to simulate a few things. When binary, for any reason, stopped this cycle, let's say block was not available, it did something, it didn't find any worker, and then for any reason block became available. Yes, let's do it. Unit tests. Since this function it's not completely ready, I simply said, okay, load output. That means I need to add tests to ensure that it will be enough. Spoiler alert, it won't be enough. Pipeline. Resume processing. Resume processing. It can happen when this block was not available in other worker, which means resume processing from block number 2 of 3. Yeah, that would be correct definition of this test. This unit test itself will cover, let's say, 30% of the problem when one worker must ask another worker to do things. There should be another test. Pipeline has no block, but block available. But pipeline registry, worker registry. Let me check if this test exists. It was worker registry test in here. How it was in VS Code. Oh yeah. So registry tests and functions. Worker registry. What is? Yes, it's singleton checks, and this one I'm making the server. Yes, there is no test about let's give this pipeline to another worker. That's very good. So pipeline has no block available, and worker registry has worker able to do the job. Yeah, that will be the second test. Oh, by the way, let's make it. Yeah, the second, because it will be quite complex. In here, I can mock panic somewhere, and then let's check. And this one will be quite big. What else can I foresee? Let's say here. Oh, I completely forgot one thing. What if in the middle of processing panic happened? What should worker do when it's up? That's good. Functional consider. So let's assume that worker 1 has a request to process data. It has all blocks available, which means it can run it. But for some reason, there is a problem. Obviously, it should stop any iteration, but that problem was related to interface not implemented, whatever. It was not in a runtime problem. No, it was a runtime problem, yes. Out of space. Disk has no space. Yeah, that would be correct. So I need to run a test where worker pipeline processing meets a runtime error out of storage. It's quite simple to do because I have this test already. Even now I have this here. I have the storage. It's local storage. Where was it? Yes, no space left on device. So what happens then? It must be unit test for sure. But let's add some more details. Let's check preview. Yeah. So what happens then? If it has a problem, first of all, it must report about it. To system logs. Since those logs, yes, I have it in system logs already, but let's say I must check it, make a test for it. Report to external reporting or report collecting, how to say it, external system monitoring, yeah. Event to monitoring, let's say Grafana or Messenger. I think it should have some integration. Let me check, but let's do it later. What's important is to resume. Let's say I have resolved the problem. When problem, it should have retries. That's important. So first of all, report about error to system logs. That's for sure. Then block processing must have retry. Because I have this function already done, this one, load output and proceed, I can do it a bit different rather than try except in the middle of this code. I can kill this process and then have some Go routine which checks that this runtime used to have processing ID 123. Right now there is no result and it was killed. Let's resume it, and it will move me to step number 1. Yeah, so I need to have some sort of watcher inside of this binary. When shit happens, maybe it should not do anything. Yeah, so when shit happens, before binary kills itself, before process kill whatever, on graceful shutdown, it should pass every processing pipeline to another worker. That will be solution to every problem. So how to say it? I have a graceful shutdown in server itself. Where was it? Shutdown. Oh yeah, here it is. So I already have pipeline registry shutdown method. It is called when I press Ctrl+C, for example. I also have block registry shutdown. But what's important, pipeline registry itself, it's already here, registries, where is it, pipeline registry, yeah. In here there is a mapping, it's catalog, result, yes, everything is correct. So start pipeline, it's already here. With that said, I can have report, keep track of processing pipelines in here, in this function. If there is a method named shutdown, it's beautiful, it exists. I used to implement it without anybody, it's just to confirm the interface. But when I have it, I can say pass all running to next worker. Save I won't say to database, but I don't need to save any result, because if this thing somehow managed to do one good result, it will save its data to storage. I don't need to keep any track. So I can stop all pipelines processing, and then I can pass them all to next worker. That's solution. I love it. In function, simply pass all processing pipelines to next worker. Obviously, there should be some sort of error handling. Let's assume error similar to null space left on local hard drive. It can be solved like this. But what if I have another error named OpenAI no longer supports your account because you have wrong passport or whatever? That means that kind of error should be handled differently. It should not pass to any next worker. It should pass to any worker capable to switch accounts, for example, switch tokens. That means worker registry in here get workers with blocks available. Beautiful. It has list of workers, list of blocks, but it should also accept an error. The reason why I'm going to another worker, why I'm making that request, that will allow me to gather some sort of statistics related to situation. Obviously, monitoring is important. Unfortunately, I don't have it, and maybe a Raspberry Pi will be the source of monitoring, because it's like always on. It takes minimal amount of energy and can be attached to Wi-Fi router, for example. Yeah. So let's do the thing. Set up monitoring. I don't remember how it used to called, like LAMP, Linux, Apache MySQL. For Grafana, there was another some sort of shortage. It was Grafana log collecting system. Let me check it. Grafana log. Logi, no. It was logdb. Grafana. Prometheus. No. So there was something which I don't remember. It was a while ago. I could send logs to Grafana interface, Graphite interface. Graphite used to accumulate those logs, do some stuff, and send to another system to analyze those logs. And I forgot how it was called. Graphite. Introduction. Yes. What was there? Prometheus. What else? Did that system die? What? Grafana look analyzer. Possibly it's no longer existing. Okay, it wasn't that. Log stream. Okay, I will need to scope through this, because back in the day we had Google Logs where it's quite simple, like do some query language for Google Logs and have what I need. In this case, Grafana is definitely what I need to track average load, etc., because I have some considerations about a laptop which is old, that it is only capable to do some HTTP requests, maybe resize images, small images, yes, it will resize them, but to encode video, to assemble 30 frames per second, let's say 30 seconds video, it's a lot. I think it will take a while. Log analysis. Advertisement. Goodbye. Let's check documentation, what they say. To set up, it was quite straightforward. Also, Grafana had nice plugins for databases, but I need to... alerting, yes. Monitor your incoming metrics, data, or log entries and set up your Grafana. That's what I need. I need monitoring and alert. Okay, using Grafana alerting, you create alerts. I need integration. Let's say Grafana alert integration. Notifications, what's there? Data source. Prometheus. Okay, they have integration with Slack. That's tough. By the way, you know what? It can be solved quite easily in here. So Grafana is necessary. It's like I need to analyze what happens in the system, in this infrastructure, but alert. I use Telegram. I also use a bit quite straightforward things, but I do not use Slack. I hate Slack. Literally, it's no. Sometimes it's taking too much attention. I mean, system resources, etc. It also requires restarts, frequently updates. I need something which pops out, you pick it, and then you don't care. And that's what Telegram on mobile device used to be. So at least it's my use cases. I can implement alerts with a worker with one block. So that worker I will be able to get some text and send it to my Telegram. That's beautiful. So that's, I think, what I will have to do, because my pipeline right now, it's quite big. I think it's, hello, yeah, laptop, wake up. I think it's like 18 on how much? Yes, 18 blocks long. All this development was dedicated to integration between blocks. Right now I have only one block, HTTP. I don't have OpenAI block. I don't have image resize, whatever. So, setup monitoring system. That's what I will have to do tomorrow, I think. Consider options. I'll consider. Unit tests. That's for sure. I will have to do those unit tests. But there is another problem which aches. It's about configs. Let's say I will have one worker with one block capable to do one thing. Will it need this size config like config which contains 61 lines? Definitely no. I will have to consider an option where that config can be embedded into binary itself, which means all I need to do in cron tab somewhere about CI/CD, I will need to check that local system, deployment system, has built new version of binary. And then I will need simply pick it, gracefully shut down current binary, kill current binary, remove current binary, execute new binary. And all those things will require for every currently processing pipeline to gracefully shut down itself. So it's also about CI/CD. And I have questions about CI/CD. Because in perfect world, my binary should have some sort of certificate which will be issued by me, obviously. But when there is new version of this binary, it should securely get it, ensure that this binary is signed correctly, certificates are mine, whatever, and then restart themselves. This will allow me to install this binary once and forget about it. Yeah, CI/CD, beautiful. I think we'll do it later, but September 18 is about setup monitoring. That's 15 minutes maybe. Add unit tests and provide graceful shutdown. That's all I think. Parallel processing, consider. Yeah, so next stream should be less boring. And yeah, thanks for joining. Like, subscribe, whatever you think is fine. And bye bye. See you in 2 days.